And now, say if you did have to do a motherboard replacement, you got to start putting everything back together again. And I sped this video up because putting it back together is almost identical to taking it apart in reverse order. Put that power adapter back on. Now we're putting the screws all back on the motherboard marked with the letters PA. Put the speakers on. Attach them to the motherboard. They just fit right in there, which they usually do. And that's just a battery extender. Make sure you have all the screws on that were originally on the motherboard before you put the black cover back on. And that's twice. I just checked to make sure I had them all back on there, and I do now. So now I can put the cover back on. It'll usually snap right together. And now start putting the screws back in. Now if you notice, these are screws I took out originally because I thought they were holding the hinge cover plate on. But since they're not, I can put them back on now. And then I'll put all the screws back on the top plate, or the top part of the case. Attach the ribbon cable for the touchpad. Looks like I put the wrong side screw in there, so I'm going to take a couple out. And put them all back in. Sometimes you got to take a step back before you go forward. Happens to the best of them. Now put the rest of the screws in. Put that circuit board back in that has the power buttons on it, and make sure you attach the ribbon cables. Always attach your ribbon cables when you're putting things back, otherwise you have to take the whole laptop apart again. It's something that you just have to remember to do. You might get the whole thing back together and then realize the keyboard's not working because you forgot to attach the cable back to the motherboard. And we're just putting the screen on now. Now what I'm going to do, if you watch, is take a bigger screwdriver when I'm done tightening these up, because I want a little extra torque on these screws because I don't want the screen to be flapping around. I want those screws to hold. So I just take a little bigger screwdriver and put a little extra torque into them before I put everything back. Attach the LCD cable, and now we're going to feed the wireless antenna back through the computer the same way it came out. We're going to close it up. Pull the wires through. Might as well throw the wireless card in now just to get those antenna out of the way. And they snap right back on to the little connectors there. Nothing magical about those connectors. They're very easy. Just put the RAM in. Put some remaining screws back on the bottom of the case here. Okay, let's throw the keyboard in. Attach it to the motherboard with the ribbon connector. Attach the 4 screws to hold it on. Put the hinge cover plate back on. CD drive back in. Battery in. Hard drive cover back on. And that is pretty much how you do it. Most laptops are going to follow that pattern.